Logan Paul seems to be currently having a drastic change of heart towards Jesus. All within this year, he went from saying things like this:
I am definitely questioning why we have to perpetuate a belief that is silly. Because I'll be honest with you, bro, Jesus Christ,
to things like this.
And y'all gonna laugh at me. The internet's gonna laugh at me, but bro, Jesus came into my mind. Jesus is like the man who has mastered forgiveness, the power of forgiveness.
So how did he go from having the worst perception of Jesus in Christianity to this? And what exactly does he believe about Jesus now? Well, let's talk about it. So for years, Georgienko, Logan Paul's former co-host, has been attempting to talk to Logan about Jesus, wanting to see his friend Logan saved. But after years of George talking to Logan and Logan still rejecting Jesus and the concept of Christianity altogether, George gave Logan a chilling warning that might have just come to pass. Back in June of 2022, George said this to Logan.
But I'll say this to anybody, because they always come up to me, because I talk about Jesus all the time. They go, how can I see Jesus? I go, the day you want to see Jesus, that's when you're going to see Jesus. You just don't want to see him right now.
Hold on. I would love to see him. Present thyself.
Oof. Imagine somebody just popped up.
And by the way, I pray.
Be careful how you say that, because remember, how he presents himself might not be how you want him to present it.
The conversations between George and Logan continued until the moment that I'm sure that most of you probably remember. Back in January of 2023, Logan seemed to have enough as he appeared to blow up on George and started mocking George for his faith in Jesus.
I just am definitely questioning why we have to perpetuate a belief that is silly. Because I'll be honest with you, bro, Jesus Christ, you need a therapist because Jesus isn't quite doing it for you, which is true.
No, you keep bringing up that I bash gay people all the time. When have I ever done that?
Bro, that is a staple of your religion, and it's not bashing gay people. It's condemning them.
But have
for what
you,
they
as,
like.
for
That's
Shenko, as
ridiculous.
Your best friend,
But almost immediately after Logan mocked Jesus, he stated how things started going so bad that he thought this may be God punishing him for mocking Jesus.
Made some pretty out of line comments to George. The following 3 weeks have been the hardest period of my life. We were invited by Qatar. We landed Qatar. Camera stripped from us. $20,000 camera. No problem. It's just little things here and there. Things aren't showing up. We misscheduled. Got violent food poisoning. Next day got alcohol poisoning. Our luggage was delayed, so we had no clothes to get to our events. Me and Mike got in a massive fight. Qatar was the first time I felt the wrath of God. Ironically, I defamed Jesus and God, and I felt his wrath. It was very telling to me how the karmic energy of the universe, this is what I'll call it, just went right back around and put me in my place.
But ever since this podcast, things seemed to only get worse for Logan. George left the Impulsive show, Logan became more and more hated in the public eye, and he also found himself in a viral beef with Dylan Dennis as they prepared for their boxing match on October 14th. Leading up to the fight, Dennis posted hundreds of pictures and videos of Logan Paul's new fiance with other men, which led Logan's fiance to eventually file a restraining order against Dennis, and it definitely made the fight a lot more personal for Logan. And if that wasn't enough, in the midst of all of the stress of what seemed like the entire world mocking Logan for proposing to a woman with such a past, he got into a public confrontation with his longtime friend and fellow YouTuber, Gideon.
Logan, can we get a quick interview? I wasn't the one laughing when Jake was making fun of me. I'm real when it needs to be real, and you don't deserve to be real too.
Yeah, right.
You got a whole nother fight to worry about.
Please.
Hey, say less, Logan. Hey!
But where this gets interesting is that in their lead up to their argument, Gideon said that he told Logan that he needed Jesus and that Jesus was trying to get Logan's attention.
And you know the crazy thing about it, chat? Is when Logan was going through the whole crypto zoo and pig stuff back in December, it was crazy because all that stuff happened 2 weeks after he was dissing George, telling George that Jesus wasn't enough for him. And I peeped that. I saw Logan dissing George and Jesus. 2 weeks later, CoffeeZilla drops a Hall of Fame documentary. Then all of a sudden the pig allegations come out. And I seen all of this. And you know what I do to try to plant a seed, to try to help Logan amends from his ways? I called Logan up. And I was like, yo, Logan, man, I see everything you've been going through. And he's like, yeah, man, I know, bro. It's been crazy. And I was like, yo, Logan, man, you know, it's ever since you dissed God. I told him this. Chat, I put this on the Bible. I told him this. All this stuff happened ever since you talked bad about God. I told him God is a jealous God. and he shows you through thick and thin. When me and him were on the interview, I told him, I said, there's times in your life where you go through stuff and you look back and you're like, how did I get through that? There's no way my human body, my human mental could get me through that. Another power had to have been with me to get me through this storm. And I was telling Logan, I said, bro, you're going through a storm right now. And this is Jesus telling you in the nicest way possible without physically harming you, turn to me. And I said, Logan, it's time for you to turn to God. And he was like, I know, man. I've been praying. He was like, you're right, dog. You're right. And I wasn't sure if he was taking it serious or not, but I had to plant that seed in him.
Now, fast forward to fight week, about a week before his fight with Dylan Dennis. A few days before their fight, Logan and Dennis got into a physical altercation in which Dennis hit Logan with the microphone, cutting his face and giving him black eyes. At this point, Logan was understandably very frustrated and said that he was so riled up before this fight that he was worried that he was going to be too emotional going into the fight since he was so mad at all of the buildup over the last few months from Dennis. So everyone expected Logan to go into this fight absolutely fuming. But at the face-off immediately before the fight started, you could see Logan Paul telling Dennis, I forgive you, over and over. And this is the moment that Logan said later that Jesus helped him to forgive Dylan Dennis. Here's what he said.
So I come back to the house and I'm like, it might be harder to flip that switch into calmness and tranquility and fighting with my mind, not my heart, than I thought. How do I do this? So me and Nina sat right over there. We had a meditation. And in this meditation, I'm sitting here. I go, how can I go into this as calm as possible and not want to fight with the emotion? And this word kept coming to my mind, forgiveness, forgiveness, forgiveness. And then, man, y'all are going to laugh at me. The internet's going to laugh at me. But bro, Jesus came into my mind.
Let's
I swear to God. I swear to God.
Yeah. Let's go.
I swear to God, dude. I was like, fuck, bro.
What a nice thing to hear on
I was
Sunday.
like,
About time.
I was like, Jesus is like the man who has mastered forgiveness, the power of forgiveness. A whole religion was built on the power of forgiveness, like the amount of followers he has because of this one principle that if you can grasp it, and it's hard to grasp. You know how hard it was for me to go, I forgive you, bro. I forgive you for making my life hell. I forgive you for hurting the person I love most in this world for months on end when she's done nothing to you. Doesn't feel uncommon that there may have been some sort of biblical, worldly ether crossing happening there. Like it made sense. Like I don't know. I was like, if I can forgive this dude, I'm gonna win this fight. And so yeah, I meant it.
Following the fight, George Janko tweeted saying God is real, seemingly believing that his prayers for Logan have been heard at some level. So now, what does all of this mean? Does it mean that Logan is now a Christian? Well, without anything else to go on, it doesn't seem that Logan has taken things further in his decision for Christ, but we also have no idea what's in his heart today. But one thing that we do know is that God has used people like George and Gideon to plant seeds in Logan, and now it's up to Logan to decide if he wants to open the door of his heart to Jesus as Jesus continues to knock on it. So Logan will have to make a decision, and I pray that he decides to receive the free gift of salvation that Jesus is offering him, and I pray that Logan will allow God to change him from the inside out. This also shows those of us that are Christians that even when they seem that they aren't listening, God is still working through us and the other things in their lives in order to bring them closer to himself. So stay faithful out there, Christians, and keep Logan and those who are in a similar position as Logan in prayer, because God can move the unmovable. For proof of this, check out this video and I'll see you over there. But the next time that you think that they aren't listening and that God isn't working in their hearts, what are you gonna say? What do you mean?